Hey guys, I've been wanting to do a health update for a hot ass minute, but I kept running out of time, running out of, I don't know, it's just tough to sit down and really focus on it. Lately, I guess that can be one thing I can say right off the bat, is that my focus hasn't been very strong. But there's been a lot of changes in the past month, a lot of stuff that I want to get into. Just as a reminder, you guys, these videos are exploratory in nature and things are subject to change. This is just what I think, based on my personal research and experience, what I think is currently happening. Okay, and it could change. I could reach more perspective later. So, in terms of my weight, my plateau has ended. As I told you guys, I firmly got past that 295. I'm 290.0 as of today. So I'm really, really close to being my lowest weight ever. It could even happen tomorrow. There's also been some changes that I've made. I was dealing a lot with restlessness before when I talked to you guys in my last video. And that is starting to actually get a little bit better. I noticed, though, that I still have a lot of low dopamine symptoms. And this would be like the focusing issues. Sometimes when I speak, it can come out like marbles. It's like a little bit weird. And I seem to have like the really high serotonin feelings, or, whatever. The serotonin-iness is definitely back. But what I've noticed more this year is like the low dopamine, which is interesting because one of my friends, she's been telling me I should take Benadryl and see what happens, and I haven't. But I've noticed that this spring I've had the worst hay fever, the worst allergies I've ever had. I've had asthma. I've had the whole shebang, and I'm at a very similar level of like hypo, serotonin-y, low dopamine that I was in high school. I weigh about the same as I weighed in high school. I'm just morbidly obese. I'm not super morbidly obese anymore. I'm firmly in that. My body fat percentage today is 38.8. So I'm a whole percentage point away from being SMO, which is amazing. But it's just like, it's still tough. Like, I remember a year ago, I was like, whoa, in May. Like, it was crazy. Especially as we were getting towards late May and into June. I was like, I was having, my hands were twitching and all this stuff. I've had a little bit of that this year too. But it's not like super exciting really to talk about on here, because it's a lot of the same things I had last year, but to a lesser intensity. So it's like I have a little bit of that armpit rash from like incredibly acidic sweat. It's there a little bit, but it's not like it was last year. Like last year, it was so much. It was crazy. This year, it is there. So I noticed like acidic sweat all over and that kind of stuff. I notice like my hands feel weird. They feel very weird. Very recently, like even right now, when I'm sitting here, there's that slight like serotonin-y feeling, which what that feels like, which I've talked about it a lot on the channel, but it's like you feel kind of tingly right in here, like right here, the palm, and then it will happen at the feet too, but it's in the center. So I don't believe it's neuropathy, because neuropathy starts at the tips. This is here. And then, like I said, at the soles of the feet too. And then I had more low dopamine symptoms where I had the horrific, my upper back completely locked up really badly, and it caused spasm, and it went into my neck and everything, and that was horrible. So it's like those are kind of the symptoms that I'm having, but they're definitely fewer and far further between. I do have hypoventilation still, but again, most of the time it's just asthma. So it's not really anything crazy. It's just very like serotonin-y, hypo, you know, she's cheer captain and I'm on the bleachers. It's very like I'm the bleachers, nerdy girly pop that's just sitting there because I'm introverted and boring and non-athletic. That's kind of what I feel like. It's just very basic, which I know that to a lot of people that would sound really bad, but if you look at like where I came from, where I was like dying like 2 years ago, I was like suffering horrifically, and then 3 years ago I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna make it. It's a really good place to be, to just be like basic, nerdy, sore and bloated on the bleachers, girly pop, introvert vibes. It's like, oh, okay. I noticed this year too, like a lot of the serotonin-ness of like the insecurity factor and my brain and like that sort of like deep anxiety and depression that comes from that feeling of the serotonin, it's so much less this year. Drastically less. Like it's still there sometimes, especially like after the gym. I still feel it, but it's so little. Like I've had a couple nights where I feel really sad, where I'll feel kind of despondent, but it's really, really, really light. So like I said, it's a lot of similar things to what I had a year ago in terms of negatives, but it is so much less intense. And I just keep thinking about like how much easier it is to lose at this point. Like I feel like I get so frustrated when I hear weight loss channels or people talking about it, and it's like you really have not experienced what a smo girly pop is experiencing, like, or what a super morbidly obese person is experiencing. Like it is not like I'm probably at where certain people have started. I have like 100 pounds left to lose or something like that. So there's a lot of people where it's like this is their starting point. And had I started here, oh my God, like it sucks. It does. It does suck still. It's not like I'm thriving and woo, I'm doing so amazing. Like let me just like cheer and scream in the stands. You know, I'm sore and bloated on the bleachers. I'm not cheering at the football game. I'm not, you know, acting like Taylor when she sees Travis. I'm not acting like that. I'm like this while the football game is going on. That's me, you know, serotonin queen over here. That's what I'm doing. So, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not dying and I'm not showing up. Like I'm there, you know? So it's like, that's how I can explain it. Like lately I've been working a lot. My knees have been hurting because I have a lot of that muscle tightness, muscle twitching. I remember this one day, my arm was twitching like crazy. And I was just like, this is so irritating. So it's a lot of those like same dopamine serotonin effects that I had last year, but just less intense. Other than that, definitely seeing some changes in terms of like, I feel like people are seeing me differently, a lot differently. I'm noticing too that like these days, any weight that I lose, it's a big difference. So if I lose 1 pound, it's similar to what 2 or 3 pounds used to be in terms of sizing and noticeability. Like people notice a lot more that I'm losing weight now, even though I'm technically losing less. But I do think I am doing a lot of recomp as my hormones have improved. And so I think, in my opinion, there is some kind of soft tissue regeneration occurring, You know, when you're very, very hypo, your skin, hair, nails, everything just kind of like dies. Anything protein that requires protein synthesis, including muscle as well, it just all like suffers and it's not as great. So when your hypo gets better, your body can start like rebuilding all that, and it can make the scale go less. Like it can make the scale change less, but I'm still burning fat. I'm still, you know, I'm not gaining at all. As you guys can tell, I've still lost about 5 pounds. So I would say probably in the last month, not even, maybe the last 3 weeks, I've lost about 5 pounds. I don't think that that's bad. I'm not in the Olympics, you know, I don't need to be like really trying to do this as fast as possible and all that stuff. Like, I want to do it healthfully and sustainably. And so I have been. But that's kind of where it's at. Like, I just keep thinking about like how much easier it is than it was a year ago. And I just get frustrated because I'm like, I wish people really knew how hard it really was. Because it was crazy a year ago. Like, I don't even know how I made it. I really don't. Anyways, sorry, I'm jumping around. My focus isn't great, so I'm sorry. But basically, I feel like a lot more ready to date than I did in the beginning of the year. Like, I'm feeling less introverted, more open, you know. So like I said, I mean, I feel like that metaphor is a really great metaphor for how I feel. It's like I'm at the game, I'm watching it, but I'm just kind of like there, you know. But I'm still there. And so it's like it's definitely better. I feel like I'm doing very well. Like, there's no way a year ago I could have done my job and YouTube at the same time. There's just absolutely no way in fresh hell that that could have occurred. This year it is happening, but it's very uneasily. And so it's still kind of a sticking point in my journey. But again, it's a really good thing to be able to continue to lose weight, go to the gym, do everything I need to do, and still have such a heavy workload and still have so much going on in terms of my personal life and finances and horrific stress and everything. And I can still do it. So I always will advocate for people to do a diet that feeds into the stress system, because I'm very stressed financially and practically, and I've continued without missing a beat, basically. So I think there's this idea that we have to wait for things to be perfect. I think you just have to get more resilient so that you don't have to have things be perfect. My boredom is less. I've been less bored for sure, which is great. I've noticed too, like, this is going to be kind of random, but I don't know if I want to talk about it, but I guess I should. Whatever. I told you guys earlier that I had gone back to Schmorn towards March because I was like so low in dopamine, like I was dying. That's over again, so I'm done. I haven't looked at it in a long time. It just doesn't appeal. I have no desire to. I don't know, like, my libido isn't dead or anything. It's just different. If things feel different, I don't know how to describe it. But, you know, I'm pretty sure serotonin and dopamine and all that has to do with that aspect too. So I'm not surprised that it's changing. My hormones have improved, by the way. So I told you guys in the last video too, my hormones were like trashed. Like, my estrogen was really high and I was like really feeling awful. That has actually improved. I started sleeping a lot more. I was barely sleeping throughout March and April. I started sleeping more. I've been sleeping, 7 to 10 hours lately. I've been able to go back to sleep. I've been definitely sleeping more. My hormones are not as bad. Like, I go to bed at like 2 rather than 5. Like, that's a big difference in terms of like hormone health, serotonin, dopamine balance, etc. So all that is really, it's improving, which typically it wouldn't be at this time. Typically it would be getting worse because we're getting towards the summer solstice. So I do think that my hormonal seasonal connection is definitely divorcing at this time because I am feeling better. There are still some aspects and some times where I have like a mini panic or I have like some high serotonin or serotonin feelings, like a panic attack or an almost panic attack or arguing or these kinds of things. I've had some of those moments, but it's so few and far between compared to a year ago. It's not even funny. Like I said, any of the sadness spells of the weight loss, they've been so short-lived and so shallow, like not deep sadness, very, very shallow sadness. And then I've just noticed like I'm so much more open in terms of like romantically, where it's like in the past I was so sick, so I would be very easily smothered by a guy. And I feel like now I'm not. Like now I'm just like, oh, it'd be nice to have somebody here. Oh, it'd be nice. Like, so I'm feeling more romantic, I guess. Is that a thing? I feel more romantic. I mean, I feel more like I could handle a guy being around. It wouldn't bother me. I feel like I could handle being around kids or something. You know, it's like I can handle the kind of like loud noisiness type of thing. Sometimes I get irritated in public still because I don't know if it's just like a function of the times or, you know, where I'm at or whatever. But like people are driving insane and it's really annoying. And a lot of people are acting like they're in a mad rush all the time. And it's really, really annoying. And people are always like at your throat. Like sometimes I feel like, I mean, this is so exaggerated, but just maybe this is still a function of the sensitivity of the serotonin, but sometimes I feel like I'm in New York City or something and I'm just like, get the fuck away from me. You know, it's like, get away from me. I live in the South. I don't live in fucking New York. I don't want you up my ass while I'm walking. Get away. You know, so I have those moments sometimes, but I don't know why. I don't know if people are just getting more and more desperate financially or if something's going on in the universe, you know, if it's the magnetic storm that just passed. I don't know. But people seem, I don't know if it's that they are more desperate or if they seem more desperate to me. Like it could be an issue of sensitivity. So I'm still not feeling large crowds and things like that whatsoever. But in terms of like just normal stuff and like more spontaneity and things, the high serotonin state of my mind is going away where I can handle things like that. And I just feel more open to spontaneity, more open to romance. Like I feel like I'm becoming more of a balanced introvert rather than like somebody who just can't handle anything at all. You know, it's like I don't like that hyper nervous sensitivity moment. I don't like that. So that's actually going away, which is amazing. So gosh. But yeah, so I would say overall feeling pretty mid. You know, I'm not thriving, but I'm not dying either. I'm just here. Just like, hey girl, just sitting there. It's like I wish my knees weren't hurting, but that has to do, in my opinion, with the muscle lockup like I've had. I've had a lot of spasm and muscle stuff throughout my body. And lastly, I just need to say that I am splitting my gym. So before this week, I was doing full body twice a week. I've changed. So now I'm doing arm day, leg day kind of thing. And it's working out a lot better. I think just scheduling wise, it's easier for me to go to bed earlier. Like I was having to be up really, really late, and then it was causing like a really drastic hormonal fluctuation because I'd go to the gym and then not go for such a long time. So, and then by the end of my break, I'd start to get really, really, really restless, like the very low dopamine feeling. And now that I'm going like every few days, you know, like I went yesterday, I'm going tonight. I think I'm going basically Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Friday. Those days are when I'm going. And I think it kind of spreads out the dopamine a bit, and it kind of spreads it out more. And also, like, when I go to the gym, it's like I have that burn off serotonin feeling after, and it kind of spreads it out. So I kind of just stay at this like midline fugliness, but it's not like too harsh either way. So it's actually kept me really balanced to split it. I also notice I get a much better workout because I can really focus on the muscles, and I think it's causing me to burn more calories. I also think I could be in more of an afterburn from going to the gym more often. And so overall, like, I'll have to see how that goes, but I've noticed I started losing weight more when I started doing that. I'm starting to, like I said, get a better workout in. I think my workout takes a bit longer because I split it and I go slower. And so I think overall it was a really good decision at this moment. In the past, I always would just do it all full body because I had such large gaps in between. But this year, I can't wait that long because the low dopamine thing hits and I get really restless and weird, and I don't want to feel that way, and I haven't. So it's worked. So I would say, like, always adjust when necessary. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid if things don't work, if they don't always work. But yeah, those are the changes that I've noticed. So I will keep you guys posted. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad you guys have been enjoying the channel. I'll talk to you guys again very soon. Bye, y'all.